So now we'll start with the chapter Structural Organization in Animals. Okay, this is a very interesting chapter. Now, what do you understand by animal tissues? Okay, generally, what do you understand by a tissue? A tissue is a group of similar cells having specific function and origin. Okay, at the basic or fundamental unit, or on the basis of the fundamental application, we can say that cell is the structural and functional unit of life. Now, cell alone in multicellular animals will not do all the functions, so there is an organization of cells into tissue, then tissue into organ, then organ into organ system. Okay, organ system into the entire organization in animals, and so on. Okay, so when we are talking about tissue, a tissue is a group of similar cells having specific function and origin. Okay, a tissue is a group of similar cells having a specific function and origin. Now, animal tissues can be divided into epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and neural tissue. Okay, now epithelial tissues are the tissues which are making the periphery of all the important organ system. Connective tissue is a connection between the group of cells. Okay, muscular tissue we know are important in the movement, and neural tissue, that is for the conduction of nerve impulse, for the message that is provided to the tissue to do a specific function that is given by a brain, and it is coordinated by several neurons, and that comes under the neural system. Okay, so when we talk about tissue, a tissue is a group of similar cells having a specific function and origin. And specifically when we come to animal tissue, animal tissues can be divided into epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and neural tissue. Okay, now we come to the epithelial tissue. Now, epithelial tissue has a free surface. You can see in the point here, it has a free surface that faces body fluid and or outside environment. Okay, when we are talking about the body or a body organ, you will say that it faces the free surface of the body fluid. And when we are talking about the outer environment, we will say that it will face the outer environment because it is present on the periphery of both. It covers or lines body or body parts, and here the cells are compactly packed with little intercellular spaces. Here you can say various cells are present with very less intercellular spaces. The space is so less you are not able to visualize in the following diagram. Okay, suppose this is the body fluid here, and so this is the epithelial tissue which is facing the body fluid. And when it comes to the outer environment, suppose this side is the body and this is the outer environment, so this is the epithelial tissue which is a boundary between the outer environment and the body. You can say that when you are coming to school, okay, the school premises is surrounded by a school boundary. Okay, so in our body, this boundary, so we can say that the things which are inside this boundary are the school property, and the things which are outside this boundary are not related with the school. Okay, so the boundary which divides the outer environment with the school premises is nothing but the epithelial. In similar way, in our body, the outer layer, which is a boundary or which acts as a periphery in separating the outer environment and the internal body environment, is nothing but made up of epithelial tissue. Okay, now comes types of epithelium. Epithelial tissues can be divided into simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Now, simple epithelium is made up of single layered cells. See, here you can see in the diagram only one layer of cell is present. This layer is present. Okay, and when it comes to this, you can see that 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 layers are there. Okay, so when the epithelium is only made up of single layer of cells, it is called simple epithelium. And when this epithelial tissue is made up of multi-layer or many layers, it is called compound epithelium. Okay, so epithelial tissues can be divided into two types of epithelium: simple epithelium and compound epithelium. Simple epithelium is the layer which makes a single layer, and compound epithelium is having many layers of cells. Now we'll come to the simple epithelium. Now simple epithelium, but obvious as the name suggests, is composed of single layer of cells. It is present in body cavities, ducts and tubes. Okay, and based on the structural modification of cells, simple epithelium is of three types. So one is the squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium and columnar epithelium. Okay, so the basic points in simple epithelium are: it is made up of or composed of single layer of cell. It is present in body cavities, ducts and tubes. Okay, and based on the structural modification of the cells present in the simple epithelium can be of three types: squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium and columnar epithelium. Okay, we saw that epithelial tissue is of two types, that is simple epithelium and compound epithelium. In simple epithelium, okay, now we are saying that simple epithelium is also made up of three types of cells. Okay, based on the structural modification of the cell, that is the squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium and columnar epithelium. Okay, so here you can say that this is the squamous epithelium, this is the cuboidal epithelium and this is the columnar epithelium. You can see here the cells, this is having a cube like structure. Okay, and this epithelium is having what? Elongated cells. That means it is a column like structure. The cells are forming column like structure. So according to structural organization, this will be the columnar epithelium, this will be the cuboidal epithelium and this thin layer will be the squamous epithelium. Okay, so now we come to the squamous epithelium, specifically in simple epithelium. This is a thin layer of flattened cells. The cells present will be flattened with irregular boundaries. They will not have perfect boundaries like we saw in columnar. They were having a column like boundary, and in cuboidal they were having a cube like boundary. Here the layer will be present of flattened cells. This is found in walls of blood vessels and lung of alveoli, and function is to form a diffusion boundary. Okay, you can you can make it very simple and remember in this way that simple epithelium is made up of single layer, and specifically when we come to the squamous epithelium, it is made up of thin layer of flattened cells. So this flattened surface will help in the diffusion purpose. So when anything needs to be diffused, okay, the layer should be very thin so that diffusion can occur properly. Okay, so this squamous epithelium will be present in the organs or present in the tissues where it is providing a diffusion surface. Now we are very well aware of the best diffusion surface we utilize in everyday life, that is the alveoli surface, where oxygen and CO2 are diffused. So here this is a diagram of the alveoli. You can see here oxygen is coming in, diffusing, and CO2 is diffusing into the alveoli, and it would go out of the cell. And this oxygen which is present here, see, this oxygen will be diffused into the cells. Okay, and the CO2 here will be diffused into the outer environment in respiration. So here you can see here, this is the squamous epithelium of the alveolus which act as a diffusion surface, and this is the squamous epithelium of capillary which will act as a diffusion surface. So basically the diffusion is going between the alveoli and the capillary, so both should have a diffusion surface which is very thin. So squamous epithelium is present in both the surface, that is the surface of the alveolus and that of capillary. Okay, see here you can see oxygen diffuses into the red blood cells and carbon dioxide diffuses into the alveolus. So in this way the squamous epithelium is present as a diffusion boundary in walls of blood vessels and lung alveoli in lungs. Okay, Now we come to the second epithelium, that is the cuboidal epithelium. Okay, now this is composed of cube-like cells. You can see in this diagram the cells present are cube-like. Okay, so the name comes, that is the cuboidal epithelium. This is found in ducts of glands and tubular parts of the nephron. So this kind of epithelium will be found where? In the ducts of glands and tubular parts of the nephron. Okay, see here you can see the diagram. Okay, and here this is the tubular part of the nephron, and this particular cuboidal epithelium will be present here. Function is secretion and absorption. In previous epithelium, that was the simple epithelium. Okay, what was that? That was a squamous epithelium. We saw that it was acting as a diffusion surface, and here the cuboidal epithelium will act for secretion and absorption. Epithelium of proximal convoluted tubule, okay, that is a part of the nephron, and nephron, this has also microvilli. Okay, so when we talk about the cuboidal epithelium is made up of cube-like cells, okay, found in ducts of glands and tubular parts of the nephron. This function of this cuboidal epithelium is secretion and absorption. So secretion and absorption is going on in the kidney, okay, and that is present particularly in a part of nephron, okay, in a part of nephron, and that part of nephron is PCT. So proximal convoluted tubule is nothing but a part of nephron, and here you will able to see the cuboidal epithelium. So this is the structure of the nephron which is present here, and PCT is, see here, this is the nephron. Okay, so proximal convoluted tubule will be here. So this part is the PCT. Okay, so cuboidal epithelium will be present here with microvilli. Now comes the columnar epithelium. Now columnar epithelium, as the name suggests, the cells present will have column-like appearance. Okay, in table you make the columns, so it is having a column-like appearance. That means it has tall cells. Now it is composed of tall and slender cells. Their nuclei are located at the base. Free surface may have microvilli or may not have microvilli. Found in the lining of stomach and intestine, and its function is secretion and absorption. Okay, so these columnar cells will be having a free surface where microvilli can be present or they can be absent. They are found in the lining of stomach and intestine, and the function is secretion and absorption. Okay, so this is the stomach part. This is the tall cell. You can see here the nucleus is present near the periphery of the cell, that is the base of the cell, on the upper side or on the lower side. And here in this diagram you can say that this is the lumen, that is the internal surface of any duct or tube or any blood vessel is the lumen, and these are the columnar cells which are present in the microvilli in the intestine. Okay, so if this is the if this is the tissue of the intestine or lining, microvilli are present here. They are fine hair-like structure which will be present. When we see the microvilli in detail, okay, this is the microvilli in detail, you will find columnar cells which are present there inside this, and which will help in the absorption purpose. Microvilli are there to increase the surface area of absorption, so their function will also be secretion and absorption. Okay, so simple epithelium was of three types. One was the squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, and the columnar epithelium. Okay, now there is also modification of the columnar or cuboidal cells, that is ciliated epithelium. They will have, sometimes they have this cilia. Cells bear cilia on the surface, okay, which will increase the surface area. So see here, you can see on the top surface there is a presence of hair-like structure. These are the cilia. Present in the inner surface of the hollow organs like bronchioles and fallopian tube. They are present in bronchioles, that is the branching of the trachea. When the branching of trachea occurs, we call them as bronchioles or bronchi. So it is present there, and it is present in the fallopian tube, that is in the female reproductive system. Now its function is to move particles of mucus in a specific direction over the epithelium. Okay, its function is to provide what? Provide a moving base, okay, to move the particles of mucus in specific direction. So when we see this bronchiole, okay, and in this the cilia are there, these fine structures are there. Now this will help what? When you are having a certain allergy or you are having any infection, a lot of mucus is produced in the body to help the body to save itself from the attachment of that infection. Okay, a lot of mucus is produced, and that mucus is nothing but the cough you are having. Okay, now that mucus should be moved inside the system so that it does not obstruct the upper respiratory system and you have difficulty in breathing. Okay, so because of that, if that this cilia will not be present, so the mucus will not be able to move in a particular direction, and so you will that will be clogged and you will not be able to breathe. So for making that system free from that mucus, this cilia are present in the respiratory system. Now when we come to the reproductive system of the female, okay, this is the fallopian tube, and here the cilia will be present. This will help in the movement of the egg towards the fallopian tube, because the fertilization will take place inside this fallopian tube. So the sperm should also move. Sperms are having motility, no doubt. So the egg is not having any motility, so it needs to be moved here inside the fallopian tube to come to a particular junction where the fertilization of the sperm and ovum will take place. So cilia will be present, which will guide the egg to move in a particular direction. Okay. Now modification of the columnar and cuboidal cell, that is, they are functioning as a glandular epithelium. Okay. Now for secretion, when we are talking about the secretion purpose, they can be unicellular, that is consist of isolated glandular cells, example goblet cells of the alimentary canal, and multicellular, consist of cluster of cells, that is salivary glands. So they can be, when they are functioning as a glands, that is for secretion, they can be unicellular, that is the goblet cells which are present inside the stomach, okay, inside the alimentary canal, and specifically in stomach. Okay, and when we are talking about multicellular cells, they will act as the salivary, they are the salivary glands. Okay, so here you can see this, these are the goblet cells which are present in the lining of the epithelial cells of the stomach, and they are helping in the secretion purpose. Okay, and this is the salivary gland diagram. So when for secretion, when they are unicellular, they are acting as goblet cells, example is goblet cell, and when they consist of cluster of cells, these are nothing but the salivary gland. Now based on the mode of pouring of the secretion, there we saw what they were acting as what? They were acting as glands for secretion, and here they are pouring the secretion, and glands are of two types, that is exocrine and endocrine glands. Okay. Now exocrine glands are nothing but they release secretion through ducts, that is secrete mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, digestive enzyme with the help of duct. A particular tube is required to transfer these materials, that is mucus, saliva, earwax, all from the site of production to the site of usage. Okay. But endocrine glands have no ducts and they produce hormones. So there are two types of glands, that is the exocrine gland and the endocrine gland. So exocrine gland will do what? Exocrine glands will release secretions through ducts. Okay, a particular duct will be present and through which the enzyme or milk or saliva which is produced will be transported to the site where it is required. But in endocrine glands the secretions, okay, in endocrine glands the secretions will be diffused in blood, and from there, from blood, they will reach to the site of requirement. Okay. So when duct is present from the site of production to the site of action, it is the exocrine gland. And when the mode of diffusion of the important thing which is produced is blood, it is diffused in the blood and it is reached to the site of action, then it is the endocrine gland. Okay. So example, here you can see that this is the caniculi, the tear where water thing is secreted to the lacrimal duct in your eyes. So a duct is required. So this is an exocrine gland. This is the sweat gland. Okay. So sweat will be formed in this and come to the surface. When we come to the endocrine gland, this human is shown here and it is having all the glands like thymus, adrenal gland, okay, and thyroid gland, and in brain pituitary gland, hypothalamus. So all these come into the endocrine glands. Okay, their secretion will not have any duct and directly it will be poured into the blood. So here in modification we saw what? Ciliated epithelium, which was present in bronchioles and in fallopian tube. Glandular epithelium, where the secretion was there when they were isolated. An example was goblet. When they were multicellular, present in cluster of cell, it was salivary gland. And on the basis of that we saw exocrine and endocrine gland. Okay, so this was all about the epithelial tissue, and in that we saw what? Simple epithelium. So we saw epithelium is of two types, simple and compound. And in simple we saw three types of epithelium, that is the squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium and columnar epithelium. Okay. So this was all about the animal tissue, and specifically we talked here about the simple epithelium. Here what you have to remember, about the functions and the structure of the cells and the types of cells which are present, and examples are very important. First you will find this very boring type, but when you will remember and you will revise it, and when you will remember that when you need, you will find it very good. Okay, so this was all about the animal tissue, and in that we saw simple epithelium in detail, and we also saw the modification of columnar and cuboidal cell as glands, as presence of cilia, and we saw for the secretion.